here she is. This is the same version as our boat, but it's a full 50% smaller. I have not seen one of these in the ocean for about 3 years. I am pumped to get on board. We're gonna go sailing, but first of all, we're gonna do a boat tour for you guys, because I'm sure that you're as eager as I am to poke your nose around this little beauty.
We've been in this house for 3 days and I'm still not sure if there's someone living upstairs or not. It's a little bit creepy, isn't it? He cancelled. Ah, oh, really? I've just put Darwin down for his second nap and we're about to head in to the marina.
In your book?
Are you trying to sell my ABC book?
Yeah.
A bit too early on in the episode for doing that, mate. We haven't even begun. We have so much to tell you, like why the heck we are here, which is actually Thailand. We're in Phuket right now after an unexpected turn of events.
That's right. Riley was unable to return to Bali due to an unfortunate personal life event, more on this later. And last minute, we got an opportunity to spend a few weeks on board these trimarans in Thailand instead. So it was decided that myself, Lenny, Darwin and Melly would fly there too so we could all be together again. But it's important for us to learn to sail these three-hulled creatures as best we can before we take off on our own. And these vessels being fresh out of the factory meant that we'd also be giving them a shakedown cruise, helping their owners find any loose bolts or things that needed to be fixed.
Oh, thank you. I love you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, nice, eh?
I think you should tell everyone about the journey here.
Well, I will, but first up, let's go and check out this 40. We can do a boat tour. Give everyone the reason why they clicked on the video.
In this episode, we're also going to be discussing our sail route once we splash down and sail out of Vietnam. So stick around for our travel plans for like the next 5 years.
Okay, so we've got the 40 here, the 50's in front of us. We're here for 3 weeks and we're going to do a boat tour on this one and then a sail and then the same thing on the 50. So we've got a few weeks to bomb around.
We feel so lucky that we get to do this. We wanted to find out for ourselves and for you guys what it's really like to live and sail on trimarans. We get people saying like, are trimarans fit for a family? We're about to find out.
I'm under a time constraint here from Elena because I could talk about this boat forever. There is so much, I'm really excited. So, if you follow me forwards, again, I'm astonished at the size of this boat for only 40 foot. It comes up in a flare, so the top is actually really wide. And it's all carbon, and they make it really, really light. This will be same as the Ultramar, where you put your downwind big sail, like your Code D, or your pretty powerful upwind sail, because we're going so fast all the time, it needs to be quite strong. So I love what they're doing on these boats. They're getting the bowsprit right out. It's really, really strong. You can get more of your force from your downwind sails. So I love that. I prefer to be going downwind. I like to be going downwind fast. If you're selecting your weather appropriately, you can hope that that's the case. Moving back, we've got a normal working jib, staysail, genoa, like we're calling this all different sorts of things at different times of the day. Big carbon rotating mast. I don't know if they're standard on all models, but all of the Rapido. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and say that they're standard on all models. Big mainsail, we've got Doyle sails on board, so Elena and I are very happy about that. There shouldn't be any dramas with these. And then, yeah, this is going to be normal slab reefing, which I would also recommend. One thing that Elena and I need to think about on this trip is we don't want to jibe with this not being held in place, Elena. Because if you just go fa-dung, and there's more dramas. So a little bit more complicated, but this adds to the entire sail area. So instead of being a hindrance, it's actually a wing, and there's so much good about this. It's also good for reefing because you can turn up into the wind a little bit and let that off. Sailors will know exactly what I mean, but for those of you that aren't sailors, if this was stationary in place, the sail is going to be off to the side here, and the friction of the cars on the mast track here just makes it more difficult to pull the sail down when you've turned upwind. That alone would make a rotating mast worth it. It's a huge safety benefit.
Moving on.
I must say, this is a bit weird. I don't like this. I've got a hole in the net. Richard obviously doesn't mind, but for me and the kids, that's something to note. Whatever, that's just specific to this boat, no doubt. Each boat that they build is very customised, probably to Rapido's detriment. If you push them hard enough, I shouldn't say this, if you push them hard enough, they'll build anything for you. And I'm like, you shouldn't. You should just make... Anyway, sea foils, super exciting. So Elena and I are going to get to play around with these. It's going to be a little bit more complicated for tacking maneuvers and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing if that adds an extra little bit of stability. None of the 60s have got them at the moment, but the 40s and the 50s do. I went around in a big circle with the designers, M&M, and I was like, let me get the foils, and they're like, you don't need them, mate. The benefit is going to be 15 knots and above, and I don't really want to be hanging out there. I love getting to 10, 12, 13 knots. 15 to 25 is not that good for a family, so I'm going to be preferring to have a reef in, or even two, and have all of this safety margin up my sleeve. The reason that they have them on this is that there are no dagger boards on the 40. Smaller boat, different design. They've got the sea foils here. So we've got a tacky cat here. I don't know how many horsepower this is. There's a lot for Elena and I to try and learn, and they fortunately just said, yeah, off you go, you guys will be all right.
Each boat has its own personality, so we've got to figure out this one really, really quickly so that we don't damage Richard's boat.
Something a little bit different is all of these boats are going to have a jack at the base of the mast, which you use to tighten the rigging. So that's just brilliant. You go in there, you jack it up, and you put a little shim under there, and that tightens the rigging. So from the tip of the bowsprit right to the back of the boat is 43 foot long. It's got a waterline length of 40 feet. It weighs 6.2 tonne. That's fully loaded. So that's exited the factory full of water and full of fuel. It doesn't get heavier than that until you start filling it with food and canned food and all that sort of stuff. And it is $659,000 US sail away. That's the base price. You can add probably water makers or upgraded sails and stuff like that from there, but that's the base price.
Where are we going now?
We're going into the portside armour. On our boat, this is where we're going to have a bunk bed in here, only whilst we're on anchor in situations like this for crazy, hardcore sailors that can deal with that sort of shit. It smells down here, like it still smells like paint because this thing's brand new. This is massive, crash-proof bulkhead there as well. And I was told the other day that forwards, Elena, you'll like this. Each one of these forwards has a crash box, which there's a cavity and then foam, Elena, which acts as a compression post in front of another crash-proof bulkhead. It's a really well set out design. I don't know that about the main hull, but I'll be very surprised if that's not the same, but I know that that's what happens on the hammers. They've certainly got crash-proof cavities, but whether it's got the foam as well, I'm not sure. We're starting in the cockpit. What's going on, Pants?
Cockpit can easily seat like 6, maybe 8 comfortably here. If you're having a party, you could easily seat like 12, possibly more. You're more than happy to make do when everyone's having a good time. We've got 4 winches here in the cockpit, so you don't have to go far out to make adjustments. 2 glorious looking seats, or sunbeds if you will, on the sides over here. Let me give them a try. Oh yeah.
Just on a personal note, how do you feel doing boat tour videos? Because you look
like
you were putting on a persona then.
Yeah, I feel like I'm doing like a boat show, like this is the blah blah blah. It feels a bit strange.
Everyone's really interested to see this boat. So,
okay, alright. I can stop putting on a persona. Alright, it's just me guys, it's just Elena. We've got 2 solar panels off the back here. We've got the rudder and a tiller steer that you can use from in the cockpit. We have the throttle. over here. You're going forward, operating the windlass. We've got the anchor windlass here and the bow thruster as well.
Yeah. Saloon. Now everyone's really interested to see how big these things are.
So compared to the Beneteau, we used to own the 43 foot. Immediately the difference I notice is how much like I can actually stand up and I'm not crouching down to go from the cockpit down to the saloon area. I didn't like being so hunched over.
And you're only 5.5 foot tall.
I'm very small. There's more airflow already just because you are higher above the water.
I love just having the one step up here and then another small step up and you're out. Open plan living. I love it. So you could sit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for dinner, probably not more.
This table goes down into what would be the third bed. And yeah, we've got the galley over here. We have a fridge.
What's he got in here? He's been living the full bachelor life, so there's going to be a couple of beers and some Vegemite, which doesn't go in the fridge, Richard. But it was kind of him to leave it there for us.
That's a crime. Okay, freezer down here. Can confirm it is cold. Oh, look at this. Oh, nice. Little bit of a pantry behind here. Condiments, some eggs. I'm still talking in the voice, aren't I? I'm gonna stop the voice. Condiments, some eggs.
Elena's boat tour voice.
It's just me.
No, I love it.
Gotta shake it off. A 2-burner stovetop. No oven. To be honest, we didn't use our oven that much, but we're getting an oven on our boat, aren't we? Over here is the electrics. It's like a nav station. Well, it is the nav station. Doesn't look like your traditional nav station though. It's more of a like, get your stuff done, beep, 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 and get back out there probably. Follow me down here.
Don't tell me.
Wow, okay, this is more storage, or I guess it could be a wardrobe. It's got a hanging pole for what could be coat hangers, but if you're a cruiser, I would say you would use this as a pantry.
What are you gonna strap up there, your dried meat?
Hang a, I don't know, turkey you've caught. Here is the master head, and it's pretty big. You've got your shower here, a little sink, bit of storage. Probably a lot of boat people out there can agree with me on this, but having the shower next to the toilet setup is just usually very
It's unavoidable on a boat.
But I can confirm that the shower is here, and it's actually, it can be facing this way, and you might not get the toilet wet because there's nothing worse than when someone else has a shower and you have to go in and use the toilet and it's wet, and it's just disgusting, to be honest. You might get away with this. I'll let you know by the end of the boat trip. This is the master bed. It's a queen bed size. Yeah, quite spacious. Okay, I guess you'd put clothes in here. That one's pretty deep. You could fit a bit in there. Okay, let's climb back here, hey? Should we go into the back bedroom? The interesting part of this boat, this is how you access the second cabin, the guest cabin.
That's actually not the only way that you can get down there. So this is the other way that you get down there.
Oh yeah, nice.
That's kind of cool because I could talk to you. You could have a little snooze and I could be sailing, or the other way around, of course.
I don't know if this gives you a good enough idea of how big it is in here. I guess you lay like this, hey? Yeah, that's how you do it. Okay, now I've gotten my bearings. I get it. Pillows here, legs that way. This is the first time it's actually felt like a 40-foot boat. Like you wouldn't have guessed, and then this one cabin is like, oh yeah. But even still, it's a queen size bed. Probably wouldn't be that fun to make. Making beds on boats is hilarious. It is a bit hot right now, but I want to get out.
All right, out you get.
I've actually just found another little bit of storage down here. You could also sleep a person right here. That goes back about maybe Riley's body length back. You could put your head here, but Richard's using it as storage.
Okay, so the story about how Riley got stuck in Vietnam recently. It ended up working in our favour, I guess, but I know he definitely wasn't thinking that at the time.
I got up at 5, left my passport in the hotel. Completely my fault. Went to jump in the Uber, which is a Grab here in Vietnam. Dude was drunk and pretty funny. He was burping and singing, called his friend. So I had kind of a terrifying / excellent ride to the airport. Got here, realised I didn't have my passport. Have spent the whole morning organising for that to get sent. Got it sent, tipped the dude from the hotel a lot to say thank you. They've got a big holiday on here at the moment, so everyone's quite jovial and drinking. So I was amped, you know, I was like, yes, I've got this nailed. And then, of course, happened on the first day I got it. I could have killed, I think it was, I'm not going to say a nationality because someone will get pissed off. Let's say American. Someone put a little tear in my passport, which has since grown to the extent now that Indonesia won't let me back in the country. So I'm stuck in Vietnam apart from my family. I was really missing the kids, so this is just really, yeah, no, there's no good news here at all. I wrote shop with glue into Google Translate, and the taxi driver pulled out some electrical tape and goes, here you go. That is not gonna work. Do you see this? Broken? I need glue. Could you take me to a shop that has glue? Yeah. Yeah? Thank you. Closed. Everything is shut.
Happy New Year. Oh my God.
So I may not have explained at all. I probably haven't, because I'm not very good at doing this. It is currently Tet, T-E-T, which is celebrated here in Vietnam, and they go hard. So everything's shut at the factory, which is why I'm going back to see Elena and the kids, because nothing's going to be happening at the factory for 10 days, maybe a little bit more, and there is just not a single shop open. The Vietnamese really, really love this holiday, so it's unlikely I'm going to find glue. So I'm going to go back to the airport and try and book a flight out not to Indonesia, and try and glue my passport there. I'm going back to the airport anyway.
Lenny, do you know where we're going? Dada.
I told the family to come and meet me in Thailand. Paul from Rapido was there, and he'd offered for us to come sailing on some trimarans that he fortuitously had there. Incidentally, Thailand is more lax with their immigration checks, and so the ripped passport went unnoticed, and I gained 1 Ninja Star stealth point. I was going to have to book an appointment with the Australian Embassy to get a new passport here, and there was going to be this whole thing, but we were back together and about to sail on some brand new trimarans.
How was that trip, Melly?
So far, so good. Yeah.
Number 6.
Over the past 8 years, we've experienced some unique forms of transport, but this tuk-tuk we were in whilst in Bangkok was right up there with most thrilling. We were off to a great start with our date night. We had a lot to tell each other after our weeks spent apart. One more 4-hour flight to Phuket the next day, and we'd finally be settled again for a while.
Yeah,
Lenny's going, where's our 40?
It's down at the marina, Lenny.
So you can see, I wasn't super smooth then, but you can see how easy it is to get from one place to another on a 40. To me, that's the important difference, apart from the price. You can probably get this out into the harbour and be sailing in minutes. So if you were going to do a lot of coastal cruising or a lot of marina hopping and stuff like that, this is probably better, really. The further distance that you decide to go, the more inclined I would be to recommend a 50 and then a 60. I would absolutely bomb around on this in the Atlantic or, you know, most oceans. But I think where it shines is ease of operation. Good boy, Lenny. We were very lucky to be let on board these vessels before anyone else, but it was agreed that it would be Riley's job to complete a list of improvements. Riley is me, and it turns out I'm reading Elena's voiceover. Non-compliance or safety issues, and to do what is called the shakedown. A new boat is very different from a house or a car, and a great deal of time needs to be put in before the product is perfected for the client. Stay tuned for what things we discover. Well, that was fun. We've been for a burn now in the Trimaran, and honestly, sitting on the back here, having spent some time on the ocean, it really centers you as a human being, and it really does. I'm petrified that people will think that I'm just saying that, but having spent some time on land like Elena and I have done, we realise just how awesome it is. And so if you get the chance, you should go out there and do it.
I think we understand the reason why people watch our channel now. It's such escapism, and it only took how many months we've been living on land now?
Yeah,
4 or 5 months, yeah.
So it's got me pumped to share with you my plans that I've been making over countless sleepless nights up until 2 a.m, mostly in the Bahamas.
He was researching where we're going to sail like every single night.
Immediately upon departing Vung Tau, which is the anchorage south of Ho Chi Minh, we'll be heading to Koh Son. Images will be displayed for you on screen. Then we'll be sailing south to basically towards Singapore. I'm not going to go to each different part, but that bit's important because Nong Sa Marina, which is south of Singapore, it's in Indonesia, is a good place for all Rapidos to go for their second, third stop, having done a shakedown cruise, because there's a good marina there with good facilities and we can get some extra work done, which will be necessary on a brand new boat. Then there's a couple of spots. I've really got my eye on the Mentawais because I'm vaguely thinking about adding surfing to my list of hobbies, and I know that there's some good spearfishing there and it's supposed to just be paradise, but that would be going underneath Sumatra and coming around, where probably it makes more sense for us to head vaguely in the direction of Bali, and this will at this time of year probably be upwind, so we'll be tacking upwind to Bali, Lombok, and then on our way to Komodo. There's also this bonkers, insanely picturesque caldera, which is an exploded volcano which has left a Santorini-esque ring around where there's water inside. Then we're going to Labuan Bao, just outside the national park, so I'll probably be able to snare myself a dog-toothed tuna. Then we'll probably be headed somewhere in the vicinity of Raja Ampat. They're sort of the little trips that I've got planned. There's 17,000 islands in Indonesia. That will keep us busy before we head to New Zealand and then jump into the Southern Ocean and head to Patagonia. So
and I'm not sure if I will come on that trip just because of the kids.
No, you're not coming.
It's going to be a very rough sail.
You're not coming on that one, though.
No, I mean, I would love to come, but I also don't want to leave the kids. I couldn't leave the kids for how many days? 20? A while ago when this idea first came about, Riley was trying to get me to come and he was like, what if...
Because you'd really enjoy it.
I know, I would love it. But the kids are just so young and cute and they really need me.
They mightn't be so young by then. What if that's in 3 years' time? Darwin will be 5.
Yeah, maybe. I'll see how I feel. I mean, right now, Darwin's still on my boobs, so it's just maybe it's not the right time for me to think about leaving them.
Presumably he won't be at 5.
Oh, let's hope not, yeah.
So Patagonia will be there during the summer. The family will fly over and I'll meet them at Puerto Monte. We'll sail around, there's beautiful fjords there. Conditions will be challenging but not so difficult that the family can't handle it. And there's still an amazing national park and beautiful fjords, and we'll really get the most of the full experience without having to go down to 60 degrees south and you're fighting icebergs. And then back into the trade winds and probably Easter Island and Tahiti with all of the places in between.
Let's get back to Tahiti. I love those islands. If you guys have a place that you want to see us sail to, we can go anywhere. Let us be your sail guides. Please like the video if you didn't already. Let us know what you think of the Rapido 40 too.